right, so I've had a little bit of a cold lately, and yes, I had the big C a few weeks ago, like you did. It was awful. But if you can't hear me, I would be surprised, because I learned a long time ago how to project my voice. But if you have any questions during this presentation, please raise your hand or yell, and I will gladly stop and answer the best I can. Okay? So here we go. How many of you are gardeners? Raise your hands. How many of you do vegetables? Raise your hands. How many of you do fruits? Raise your hands. How many of you do flowering bushes? Raise your hands. How many of you do weeds? Raise your hands. Okay.
Does honeysuckle count as a shrub?
It's what?
A shrub, honeysuckle.
Yeah, I would think so. Okay, so I don't think that a beekeeper can be, the best beekeeper they can be if they don't understand how bees interact with flowers. I mean, that's kind of a given. But how far do you think down that line? How far do you go? Yeah, I got flowers, I do good for my bees, I stop. No, I think it's time we start thinking a lot deeper, a lot better, okay? Especially, well, for many reasons. Okay, let me go backwards a little bit here. Why do you garden? You said that you do garden. What?
I like to eat.
You like it. You like to eat.
Yeah. I can.
You can. For food.
Because the neighbor does.
Because the neighbor does. Okay. Why do you have flowers?
Yeah,
They're pretty. They decorate. Okay, there's all kinds of reasons why people garden.
Been all the way around.
Here are some of them. To create healthy, fresh food, to have fun, to connect with nature, for exercise, to provide beauty, to release stress, to learn, connect with our spirituality. All of those are reasons why, in one way or another, we garden. Okay? Now, we all know that nature's under attack. I think it's a sad, and I'm not going to be the Debbie Downer here, but we know that by the year, if you want to hear some awful trivia, I can throw it at you right now, but by the year 200 years from now, at the rate we're going, the world will have no trees. In 200 years, that's approximately 7 generations at the rate we're going, cutting down our trees, okay? Extinction of plants, there's something like 44,000 animals, fish and everything under the danger of extinction right now. Destruction of natural areas, we can see that all over Indiana. Did you know that Indiana is the second in the United States in the pollution of our rivers? We are number 2, aren't we proud? Oh boy. Yes?
The wastewater plants are working on that hard.
Okay, we are number 2.
And your rates will reflect it.
Indiana alone lost 100 million. I just got that. See, I'm processing and listening at the same time. Last year we lost 100 million pounds of topsoil. That's Indiana alone. Okay? And yes, our climate is changing. You can't deny it. Let's see, next week we're going to hit records. This week we almost hit some records. Okay, remember the good old snows when you had to climb out your window to get out? Where did they go? I miss them. Okay, beekeepers bring awareness to this because we see it closer than lots of other people. Moving on. Do I have your attention? Maybe. Bees are a keystone species. Now, that's been thrown out a lot lately, but it's a very interesting idea to think about. A keystone species, if removed, things would drastically change or collapse. In other words, we're helping that from not happening by being beekeepers. Okay, we all know that bees help pollinate 80% of all flowering plants. On the right, you'll see some foods that if we would be without if we didn't have for bees. We know how important bees are for our food. Okay? I see differently now. And I've said this story before, I'm going to say it again because I want to get your attention about how you see. I was raised on a farm. I lived with my grandparents a great deal of the time, and my grandmother was probably the best mushroom hunter I've ever known. Okay, my grandma and when I was young, I would run around with her and go mushroom hunting, not paying much attention, and she had this mushroom stick, and she had it always on the inside of the outhouse, and we'd go walking with it. And when I got older, one day, and I can remember this day, I almost remember what she had on. She stood there, she smacked the tree with her stick, and she said, "Do you see it?" And I said, "What?" She said, "Do you see the mushroom?" And I just stood there, and I didn't see it. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm carrying her little cloth bag full of mushrooms, you know, and I didn't see the mushroom. She's giggling, and she's smacking the tree again. Now, all at once, I saw it. I reached down, I picked up the mushroom. We walk on, she goes to the next tree, she smacks it, she goes, "See it?" I didn't know how to see it. I didn't know what I was looking for. I'd walked with her all that time, but I didn't get it. But now I can see a mushroom 10 feet away. I've learned how to look at things differently. I've learned how to look at things not for what they are, but everything around them. That's what mushroom hunting does for you. But that's also what beekeeping does for you.
That's a spiritual connection.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, now I just want you to look at these pictures to make you feel good. Okay, these are feel-good pictures.
There's an awful lot of art there.
Is that real? Yes, it is. Is that real? Yes, it is. I want those. I want those.
Is this your backyard?
No. See those?
So cute.
They're $1 a seed.
Wow.
What are they?
They're cat eye flowers.
Take care of them.
Okay. The whole point of this presentation is to help you gain a better perspective of the relationship between bees and flowers. Okay? And we're going to focus on the following, on what bees want as far as flowers go. Because there are some flowers bees do not want. And what you can do, who you are, and how you may help that along. We're going to focus on distance, color, shape, and fragrance. Okay? What are the main, I'm going to go really faster for a minute. What are the main things bees produce? We all know honey, beeswax, bee bread, propolis, royal jelly, bee venom, and bee poop. We know that's the things they produce. What do they consume in order to create these things? Okay, these are the three things they consume: pollen, nectar, and water. We all know water, how important that is. They have to have access to water. But where do they get the nectar and pollen? Of course, it's flowers. All right? Pollen, P, protein. Nectar is the carbohydrate. That's what they need for their growth and development. What do flowers have in common? Have you ever really kind of thought about what do flowers have in common? How are they different? Why do you grow specific flowers and not others? And what flowers do bees need and why? Okay? Okay, look at it from a bee's perspective. Okay, you have to understand, okay, the anatomy of a flower. Basic parts, okay? We all know that. You have the stem, the leaf, the flower, okay? We know the petal is the runway. And I'm going to talk a lot about the runway in a minute when it comes to bees. The pistil holds the nectar, that's the female part. The stamen holds the anther, that's the male part. The anther is the one that has the pollen on it. And the sepal is the foundation, okay? Accessibility, think runway. If a flower doesn't have a good runway for a bee to land on, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to want it. They're going to bypass it, okay? Now look at these flowers that I'm going to show you here. Just some pictures. I'm very visual when I teach. How these bees have such easy access to the pollen and the nectar. Now look at the shapes of these flowers, the way that it comes up. See that flower on the right? What's that called? Foxglove. I love that flower. I love that flower. I love that flower. Okay, as I said before, distance, color, shape, smell, placement, season, zone, they all matter. They are all important to a bee. How far does a bee fly? Okay, the less they have to fly to eat, the better they are. Okay, the less energy they spend, the more time they're going to have to get the honey. Of course, 1 to 2 miles is a happy average, up to 5 miles are possible. But this is what's interesting. Look at this. Think about the bullseye. If they're in a 1 mile circumference, they're covering 2,011 acres. A 2 mile circumference, 8,658 acres, etc. That's kind of an interesting thing to think about, how many acres they're covering, what is around you as far as fields. Do you live near an orchard? Do you live near big flowers? Live near sunflowers. Where do you live? I mean, that's in that circumference. What is in your circumference? Okay? Zones. Now this is an interesting one because how many have been, I don't know what kind of feeds you get into your computers, but I get a lot of gardening stuff all the time. And our zone changed this year. Okay, good. I'm glad to see you're all shaking your head. You know that. Okay, what does that mean? It affects what flowers are available, when flowers are available, and where. Okay? We used to be what zone?
5.
What zone are we now?
6.
6, okay? All right, we're actually, and they even divide it even more so in a 6. This is a better picture. The one on the left is what it used to be. Now look on the one on the right. That's what our zone is now. This is the new one and how we've changed. Our temperatures are going up. Okay, colors. Flower color is important. Okay, how many bees do an eye have? How many eyes will we have?
5.
That's my Spanish, it clicks, it makes me backwards.
5.
5, correct. Okay, there, if you've never seen a real close-up of a bee's eye, okay, they have 3 simple eyes and 2 compound eyes, and they all work together, and they work differently though, okay? How many colors can a bee see? This is hard for me. And I love to think about this, but for me to think that they don't see the way I see things is hard. Just like knowing my cat only sees 2 colors is weird for me. But yet knowing they can see things that I can't is amazing for me, okay? Okay, like humans, bees are trichromatic, which means they see through a spectrum of 3 colors. Bees, like humans, see through 3 colors. Okay, humans, we see all of our colors through red, blue, and green. A bee's color vision is based on blue, green, and ultraviolet light. Now, that should make you stop and think. What do you mean by ultraviolet light? Okay, does anybody know what that means?
I do.
Okay.
If you've got a UV light and you hold it over an item, it fluoresces. It gets brighter, or it might even change colors. I wish you'd tell me I could have brought a UV light tonight.
Not only that, their ability is so sharp, they see patterns we cannot see. I just put that in there because dogs and cats can only see 2 colors and shades of gray. All right, bees can't see the color red, but they can see in the ultraviolet spectrum, which most humans cannot, which I'm going to show you something kind of interesting in a minute. But ultraviolet light is the type of radiation that makes things glow, just like you said. Bees can also distinguish between dark and light, making them very good at seeing edges. Bees see faster than other humans. Now, let's look at this. Look on the left, that's how we see that daisy. Look on the right, that's how a bee sees it. Okay? Now, if that doesn't make you think for a minute. Okay? Now, this is also, up the top, bees see brightly. But down the bottom, those colors, they just see as dark and light. Their spectrum is different. Now, these are even more patterns. Look how differently they see flowers. Makes a difference in the flower they choose. Makes a difference in how because they fly 5 times faster, they see 5 times faster than we do. It makes a big difference on the flowers they choose, okay? Aphakia, okay, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. That is a condition in which people can see ultraviolet waves. Very, very rare, and who had it? It makes perfect sense to me, Monet. Monet could see ultraviolet lights, okay? All right, how fast can bees fly? They fly about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Actually, a human can go up to 28 miles per hour. But when they return laden down with pollen and nectar, it's 12 miles per hour. That's why they see 5 times faster than we do, and so therefore it is useless. We all know by now, most of us, that it's useless to swat a bee because they're seeing your body get ready to swat them before you've even realized that you're going to swat them. That's how fast they see. Okay? They see colors more quickly. Smell. What do they smell with? Their antennae. Okay, they don't have noses. Okay? They smell very well. Okay? They have 170 odor receptors. That's high for an insect. A mosquito only has 79. We have, humans have, look down below there, we have 400 odor receptors. A dog has over 1,000. Okay? And by receptor, I mean something they specifically can smell. All right? They use their sense of smell to locate pollen and to locate other bees. Also, it's interesting when you talk about smell, they have a real smells they do not like when it comes to flowers. Okay? They like flowers that are sweetly aromatic and have a minty fragrance. That's why they love the mint families. Okay, like lavender and bee balm and those kinds of things. Those are, we all know those are a mint family. And they don't like spicy smells. Okay? What is considered to be the best smelling flowers? Now this is an opinion, but I think it's an interesting list. Okay? The rose, but that can be argued because most of the smell has been bred out of roses. It's almost gone. Unless you have the old wild yellow climbing roses, I mean, they don't hardly smell at all. It's very sad. Lilac, jasmine, lily of the valley, gardenia, chocolate cosmos. I have cosmos, but I've never had chocolate cosmos. 4 o'clock, sweet pea. Sweet pea is amazing. Anybody here have sweet pea?
I have seeds.
You have seeds?
I got one with her.
Okay, they're amazing. Sweet Melissa. Okay, sad. Why are flowers losing their smells? The breeders, the breeding of flowers looks for looks, not fragrance, pollutants, global warming. Okay, I said this before, we're very close. Year 2026, Walmart is supposedly changing their ways and not going to buy from flowers that have been altered not to produce nectar or pollen. I'll get into that in a minute. But this all, follow the problem, follow the money. They have bred these things so the flowers so they won't breed, they don't have pollen, they don't have nectar, so you have to buy them every year. Okay? Shape. All right, now we've said this before, the shape of a flower matters. They want easy access. The bee's tongue must be able to easily extract the nectar. Okay? They don't like flowers that are too deep, and they love flowers that they can just land on and go and get lots of different points of entrance for the nectar. Okay? Now, I don't know if you've ever thought about the different shapes of flowers, but there are some of them. These are actually, different flowers fall under many of these categories. Okay? And when you get into the doubles down there, like I have 3 peony bushes. And none of mine are doubles, because mine are very, very old. But if you buy them right now, they're the double. Bees won't go for it. You're not buying anything for bees. Okay, what's the name for a bee's tongue? How do you say that?
Proboscis.
Proboscis. Okay, look how long they are. I always think that's the weirdest picture when I just look at that. I love to see things up close, but it's 6.6 millimeters long. Okay, the shapes, we've already talked about that. Gullets, flowers, I tend to go towards those. Okay, what's the difference between an annual and a perennial? We know. How about a biennial? Right, they seed every 2 to 3 years. Okay, and foxglove is like that, and that's why people lose it. They think it died out, and where it's reseeding itself, but you have to have them at different times so they'll cycle differently. Okay, all right. Annuals, they're annual. They do for one generation. Perennial, P, permanent. They continue to reproduce. Okay. Flower production. We all know that flowers reproduce in different ways. Deciding what to plant, they think this, we've said that, there's good and bad for flowers. Okay, now, these are the top 2 picks, according to, like, if you look up Purdue, if you look at all kinds of websites in our area, these, you're going to say, okay, what 2 flowers should I buy? Okay, these are the top 2 picks. Lavender and bee balm. Okay, why? Okay, there's a pattern here. They're both perennial. They both spread very easily. Okay, they both are in the mint family. Okay, but lavender must be renewed. This is another trick. If you're not a gardener, you don't know. They'll only last like 3, maybe 5 years max. And they start going weird. I mean, you have to renew them. You have to divide them. You have to pull them. You have to spread them. Or they don't go well. They tend to want to die out unless you renew them. Okay? Now, these are some excellent picks. Okay, I'm going to go through these real quick. I'm just about done. For spring, lily of the valley, crocus, grape hyacinth, pussy willow. If anybody wants to start a pussy willow, I know Frank has some. I have some. If you ever need a start of it, right now I went out and looked at mine. They're starting to get ready to go. Come and get it. Next, wild violet, fruit trees of any kind. I planted 2 plums yesterday. This is my 3rd time to plant plums, and I've never let people deer hunt on my property, but I'm telling you, I'm getting a little closer and closer. Okay, flower bushes, all kinds. Now, be careful, because there are flower bushes, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them, that are not good for bees. For example, rhododendron. How many people have a rhododendron? Okay, all right, you know what family that's from?
Poison ivy?
No, buckeye. It comes from the buckeye, and they're actually poisonous, the new ones, to bees. But if you go out to Colorado and see them in the wild, bees love them. That's what we've done to them. Creeping Charlie, it's out right now. That's probably one of the few things they're going for. Let's see, excellent for bees. Tulips is an iffy thing. You'll get some people say yes and some people say no. Daffodils are yes. Iris, if you buy an iris with a bulb, those little new ones that are just so darling and cute, I don't know if any of you have the new iris, those they're not good for bees at all. But if you have the old-fashioned flags with the rhizome, those are wonderful. So they're messing with Mother Nature, and you're gonna get different things. Alliums, I've never grown these. I know you have to divide them occasionally, like all bulbs, but they're supposed to be really good for bees. Zinnias, poppies, yucca. I grow a lot of yucca. Morning glories. I know farmers hate them. They can be invasive. They vine. They choke, etc., etc. Bees love them. Columbine. That is a very, very high producer of pollen. Dandelions, because they're everywhere and easy access, excellent. Cosmos, daisies, sunflowers, gladiolas, I grow a lot of glads, foxglove, coneflowers, marigolds. Okay, now we're gonna get into the ones that are not good for bees. All right, these, I mean, if you're growing flower for bees, these are not it. Marigold, okay? Almost no nectar left, and very poor access for a bee. Pansies, you know, the cold flower. Another, they mess with it to the point the bees can't even access the nectar. Double bloom peonies, okay? Now the single bloom are fine, but the double bloom that they're selling right now, no. Geranium, bees do not like the smell. I don't like the smell. I mean, if you stuck your nose in a geranium, you're gonna regret it. Yes?
What's the difference between the double bloom and the single bloom?
It's literally just like it, they say, a single bloom will open up like a cup, it'll have several, they'll have usually 3 rows of flowers in it, but double one, like, has like blooms inside of blooms.
It's real thick.
They're really thick, there you go.
Probably really pretty too, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
it's all to do with the site and not the
right.
plant.
Access, okay? Not good for bees. Petunias, there's no nectar in them. They're growing them to sell. Begonias, no nectar, growing them to sell. Forsythia, okay? Now this is a weird one. I have forsythia, I have 2 bushes of forsythia. And this is the old forsythia, but the new forsythia has no nectar. Rhododendron are poisonous to bees. Okay, these are plants that I have almost all of these, grow around, are not mentioned, but are excellent. Money tree, lilies, pinks, hosta, yarrow, dahlias, spirea, sedum, all of those. Good to have and good for the bees. In conclusion, understanding flowers is an important step in beekeeping. I believe that with all my heart. Most gardeners love to share what they know and what they have, and nature needs us. Anybody have any questions? Okay, if anybody needs pussy willows, if they need redbud trees, if you need lily of the valley, if you want to come to my house, I have some to share. I have as many redbud trees as anybody could want. Okay, that's it.
That was too fast.
Do you have to have 2, don't you typically, isn't it best to have 2 redbud trees if you can have redbuds?
You know what?
That's what my grandmother always told me.
It could be. I mean, a lot of trees are that way. They will flower, but they'll flower better if that. But I just have. Once they get established, I have a wooded area with paths, and they just are coming up like crazy. I have all shapes. You dig.
The smaller the better.
They're in our own bucket, right?
Yeah.